If you're anything like me, you've always wanted to go to Tokyo. Well, I did. Follow along as we immerse ourselves in local culture. Wade through endless shopping. Bask in neon lights. Visit many tiny bars. And have many bites. I spent 2 whole weeks in this city, and my mind was blown. This is Tokyo. This adventure begins, as most do, arriving at the airport. We make our way into town in a cab, and there's 2 things I have to tell you about this. First, the freeways are underground. And second, don't tip. This guy was shocked when I tried to hand him money. We finally got to the hotel, but it's too early to check in, so we decided to head out into the city and vibe it out. Here are my first impressions.
It's spotless. There's nothing out of place, not a wrapper anywhere on the ground. Everything looks freshly painted. The roads are perfectly paved. Everything smells really good, and it's pretty quiet.
Like, here, just listen to this intersection. Crazy, right? Anyway, have you ever wondered to yourself, what would Starbucks be like in Tokyo? Well, if you have, you've stumbled on the right video. And the answer is, the snacks are different. I had an Earl Grey milk donut. And now it's time to check in.
All right, we're here at the Hilton Tokyo. You can see the accommodations. We got upgraded to the 37th executive floor, which gives us access to the executive lounge. Let's see the room. Oh, it's nice, clean, modern.
There's a king-size bed here, but it takes up most of the space in this room. Rooms in Tokyo tend to run a bit small. Despite that, everything you need is here. You'll find a TV, a desk, a mini fridge, and it's the same story in the bathroom. Everything's pretty tight. The takeaway here is everything is small, compartmentalized, and efficient. Very Japanese. Here's the shower, here are the products, and here's the wife enjoying the view. Outside, Tokyo awaits. I didn't come all this way just to hang out in the Hilton. Let's get to it. It's nighttime, and we're starting out at Omoide Yokocho, otherwise known as Piss Alley. Seriously. You can probably guess why it gets this name, but that was back in the 1940s, and luckily things have changed since then. It is still home to a lot of izakayas and yakatoris.
As you walk by all these little shops and restaurants, I mean, the smells are just amazing. I can't wait to have something.
And finally, Diana has an excuse to try out her Japanese.
Be a little louder than that.
Guess what that meant? We got ourselves these chicken skewers, which were fantastic. I love that all the staff and fellow patrons joined in for these communal toasts, which happen pretty often. Okay, time to leave Piss Alley behind and continue onward into the night. And I've said it before, and I gotta say it again, look how clean everything is. Every car looks like it was freshly washed that day. This is ingrained in the culture. Walking through Tokyo, and I gotta say the night vibes in this city are impeccable. There's just so much to look at and take pictures of. Any direction you face, you're gonna be met with dense signage everywhere. And of course, arcades, which is our next stop. This is Taito Game Station, and it's here where we spent an exorbitant amount of money and time trying to get this redhead out of a gacha machine. Also, I punched a semi-truck. This amazing feat of strength has worked up an appetite.
Our first night in Tokyo, we wasted about $500 on claw machines. We need to satiate ourselves with some good local ramen.
This is Shinjuku Yataien, and it definitely caught our eye. Love the lighting and lanterns here, and inside it's made up of a bunch of little food stalls, from which the aroma was intoxicating.
Moment of truth, my first ramen actually in Japan.
This is some real ramen. It's like glass noodles.
Whatever it is, it's what the locals will call
Subarashi.
And with that, it's time to prance back to the Hilton and end night 1.
Good morning from Tokyo! How are you feeling, Austin?
Excited.
With good reason, because today we're going to Ginza. But first, we're going to have to get there, which means taking the subway.
This will be my first time on public transportation in Japan. We're going to compare it to New York Metro. I'm sure it's far superior.
Once inside, all you do is scan your Suica card. And notice how there's no turnstiles here. People just pay. Weird. Another difference I've noticed from MTA is these barriers here. No one can throw you on the tracks. Once inside the train, it's just as crowded. Actually, at peak hours, it could get crazy. Attendants will come by and actually force you into the train like a sardine. This is one example where Japan is much more collectivist than individualistic. The upside is the train is silent. People don't even talk. Anyway, we make our way out, and here's my conclusive observation.
It's a lot like the MTA, just you take away the filth and aggression, and it's kind of the same thing.
Yep.
We resurface at Ginza, which is Tokyo's luxury shopping district. Every luxury brand you've ever heard of has a flagship here. And check out the architecture at this Hermes store. Ginza is also home to this Japanese landmark, the Seiko House, which is why we're here.
Here we are in Ginza. Gonna check out the Seiko Museum. I'm a watch guy, so I'm looking forward to this.
The Seiko Museum features 4 floors of exhibits, chronicling the company's history and timekeeping.
Apparently Japan was one of the early adopters of wristwatches. Everything was pocket watches before that. And here's one of the early examples from Seiko called the Laurel. This is really cool. It's basically a history of timekeeping in general, not just Seiko.
Perhaps the earliest example of timekeeping is a sundial, and they had one of those on display, as well as this intricate water clock, which was really cool to see the inner workings of. They had a lot of examples of the company's larger format clocks, including these awesome desk clocks. Into this absolute vaporwave dream of a room, we found a lot of the company's wristwatches on display.
Show you this, my favorite ones.
Just look at all these amazing dials. I don't know about you, but I love a vintage linen dial. This place was so cool to walk around. If you're a fan of wristwatches or just timekeeping in general, it's definitely worth checking out.
Seiko stands for precise in Japanese. This is the Seiko place to be.
Anyway, back out to Ginza and some more exploring. It was time to have lunch, and nearby there's a place called literally just Casual Tempura Restaurant, which was our first introduction to the concept of these ticketed vending machines. 90% of the time in Japan, this is how you're ordering your food. Now, tempura might be in the name, but these noodles are amazing.
It is really good.
Low-key, this is one of the best places we ate on this trip. Definitely recommend. We decided to have some daifuku, which is a popular Japanese confection. These had some muscat grapes. And Dana got to try her Japanese again.
Ni muscat kudasai.
I actually love mochi, and conceptually I probably would have liked this, but these grapes had huge seeds in them.
I wish it was filled with something other than a giant grape.
We head back to our room where I was able to observe another cultural difference.
So housekeeping came in and neatly piled our change.
Could you imagine this happening in America? I can't. After a quick change, we're back underground and on our way to Akihabara, a cultural mecca in Tokyo. This district is known for its pop culture, anime, electronics, and video game stores. Definitely our speed. It's a great place to walk around, take more pictures, and obviously do some shopping.
Trolls, dragons. This is sick.
Everywhere you go, there are just floors and floors of awesome stuff.
We're in Anime Wonderland.
I'm probably going to comment on this several times in this video, but the sheer amount of items and density of things in this city is mind-blowing.
Everywhere you go, you want to buy something.
Like these Final Fantasy VII plushies. I don't know about you, but I'm getting overwhelmed.
There's just way too much to see and too much shopping to do, and we only have so many bags in hands.
Akihabara was an awesome place to hang out, and now I gotta refill my HP.
So everyone knows that Japan is known for its vending machines. I haven't used one once in my life because I've never been here before. This is going to be my first vending machine purchase. I need some caffeine. This looks like coffee, I think. So I'm going to get some.
After a little break in the hotel, we head down. And I mean down into a basement. This is Suhi Shunsuke, and I'm very excited. We love a good omakase, and this is our first one in Japan, the source. We'll begin with sake and beer, obviously, and our first course, which is this delicious tofu dish. Subarashi for sure. And you know, rather than trying to describe every course, let's go ahead and make this a musical omakase montage. Everything at Sushi Shunsuke was meticulously curated, from the first bite to the last sip, and it was all to die for. And with that, there's nothing left to say but oyasumi. The next day, we were greeted with some Japanese rain. And I gotta say, this city is beautiful when it rains. I already mentioned how clean everything is. So when it rains, everything just gets a bit shinier. It was just a beautiful day of umbrella-toting exploration. Also, it's this day I discovered why there were no cigarette butts on the ground anywhere. In Japan, you could only smoke in these designated smoking areas. Anyway, just an interesting tidbit for you. I don't know about you, but rainy days always make me think about having ramen. In New York, there's a place called Ippudo, and this is the Ippudo of Japan, which wasn't as good, shockingly. It's later that night, and we're headed to the top of the Hyatt, which is home to the New York Bar, which you may recognize from Lost in Translation. The views from up here are amazing. I'm always just blown away by the verticality of this city and the sheer volume of aviation lights. Once inside, we're treated to some live jazz. And when you're asked for your drink order here, you know there's only one right answer.
For a relaxing time, make it Centauri time.
We had a couple rounds here, and I was glad to see it because apparently they're doing an extensive remodel. So if you wanted to see what it looked like in the movie, you're shit out of luck.
Good morning! Today's a shopping day. We're going to Nakano, which is a district that's full of like secondhand shopping. Everything's duty free, no taxes. Let's go see what they have.
Time to head back down, hop on Tokyo Metro, and go clear across town. And here it is, Nakano Broadway. Once again, I have to comment on the density of shopping here. There are stores within stores, next to stores, inside malls, adjacent to more malls. Anyway,
Let's go find a watch. Got my eyes peeled for my Sky Dweller at a good price. There's all these watch stores here. There's so much inventory and everything is tax-free. If you're in the market for a Rolex, come to Japan.
many watch dealers do, in fact. They come here to take advantage of these prices and engage in arbitrage back home. Anyway, this is Jack Broda and Betty, and the selection here is next level. And here it is. I found it. Now, at the time of shooting this video, Sky Dwellers were trading for about $24,000. They're impossible to find at retail from an authorized dealer, and they were actually selling for less than that here, which is pretty amazing. Gotta present your passport, and here it is, duty-free and on my wrist. This is by far my favorite Japanese souvenir, even though it's Swiss. Anyway, I digress. Moving on. Tokyo's getting dark, and there is more shopping to do.
Yep, let's go.
We are back in Shibuya at the Parco Mall, which is home to a lot of video game stores.
Let's go!
There was a lot of branded apparel and a plethora of plushies.
They got everything here. It's so cool.
I copped this Metal Mario from N64, and Diana was excited about the Pokemon.
Dude, if you would have taken me here when I was a kid, I would have completely lost my shit. But I'm losing it now. If you see Bulbasaur, throw your Pokeballs at him immediately. And then when he evolves, he becomes Megasaur.
I married a nerd. Capcom has a store here too, to which I say, Hadouken! This probably goes without saying, but expect plenty of long lines. Back out on the streets, and it was literally Mario Kart. We found ourselves getting hungry and decided on something familiar, though the items were completely different.
Interesting things here.
I think I'm gonna have a Gyusuke Sukumi.
I don't know what I'm gonna have.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. It's like an egg burger with gravy. I don't know what this is.
That is a lot of teriyaki sauce.
We took our respective bites, and the verdict is, it's terrible.
So, Asian McDonald's wars. Thailand wins so far.
And with that, another night in Tokyo comes to an end. It's the next day and we're headed to Tokyo Disney Sea. But you know what? That gets its own video, as do the following locations from this trip. Anyway, let's fast forward to when we're back in Tokyo.
We're back.
I like the bullet train. That's a great way to get around.
If you're interested in a first-class train review, let me know in the comments, and I'll make one. And for the second half of our Tokyo stay, we're at the Intercontinental ANA.
Oh, God.
Well, it's the last time I'm listening to you.
The hotel itself is actually not that bad. The room is just very tiny and very dated. It's a short train ride to Roppongi, where we're going to do something kind of mundane. If you've ever wondered to yourself, hey, what's a movie theater like in Japan? Well, congratulations, you've stumbled on the right video.
I'm curious to see how a Japanese movie theater differs from one back home.
First off, there's a bookstore. Now, we do have some of these back home, but this one has stuff that's Japanese. Neat. And as for concessions, at least where Toho Cinemas and Roppongi is concerned, the selections are much more extensive. Here are the choices we made, and the hot dogs from Johnsonville. Go ahead and laugh, I did. We made our way upstairs to our theater, and here's the standard seating. Now here's the premium seating I paid for. Was it worth it? Not really.
This is the upgraded premium seat option, which, near as I can tell, is exactly the same as a normal seat, except that there's a little more space between the seats with this wooden partition. Got some wine. I got this milk tea with tapioca.
For the snacks, we had this empanada-like thing, and here's that hot dog with its precision-applicated condiments. I also tried this ice cream-filled crepe. Pretty good. Anyway, we're in Japan, and guess what the trailer was?
Godzilla.
It's time to roll the credits on this night and fade out. It's the next morning, and it's a
Beautiful day in Tokyo. We're headed to get some dipping ramen at a place called Fuunji, which is supposed to be really excellent.
I is hungry.
And here it is, Fuunji. The line doesn't look too bad, but actually it starts across the street. And it continues inside where you have to wait for an open stool. Looks worth it though. It's another ticket vending machine ordering situation. We put our money in, made our selections, just in time for a stool to open up. The wait was actually not too long. Once seated, everything comes out pretty fast. And I gotta say, these noodles and this ramen, fantastic. Next up, we head to Shinjuku to do some costume shopping, because as it turns out, we're going to be here for Halloween.
For actual Halloween night here in Tokyo, I decided to do a kind of a Harajuku super kawaii girl vampire style. So I have red contacts and we have to go get some blood next. And it's going to be really fun.
All right, every time we're in Shinjuku, we notice this Godzilla head. This is within the Hotel Gracery. And apparently you can walk right up and get a picture. So that's what we did. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm of the opinion that you can't visit a city without going to a bar on a rooftop. We made our way through a network of food courts, arcades, and neon before finally finding the Granbell Hotel.
2 hotels, 3 different elevators later, found it.
And this is what we call an establishing shot.
Love me a rooftop bar.
Anyway, the views up here are spectacular. And we're offered a moist towelette. I had a creamy pumpkin-based cocktail.
That's nice. It's like a Halloween eggnog.
Dana had a champagne and let these bubbles indicate the passing of time. Back in an elevator down to street level, where we head to Golden Guy, and the drinking continued. Just like Piss Alley, Golden Guy has a bunch of tiny little bars. Intimate spaces where conversations with strangers are encouraged. Personally, I loved walking around Golden Guy and just taking everything in.
I love all the tiny little bars and the signage everywhere, the textures to everything. It's a cool little street.
I love how all these small spaces are so densely decorated. Like, if you've ever wondered to yourself, hey, what would it look like if Liberace opened a tiny bar inside of a shoebox? Here's Albatross. And if you've ever wondered, hey, where is that special place in hell? Well, I found it, and it's in Golden Guy. And I'll see you there.
It's another beautiful fall day in Tokyo, and today we're headed to Team Labs Planets, which you should recognize from social media.
I'm really excited about seeing this place in person. First, you're going to line up outside of a locker room.
I had to rent some shorts because apparently you wade around in knee-deep water in this exhibit, so it should be interesting.
We'll begin in the first room with our shoes off in ankle-deep water. This is the first exhibit at Team Labs, and it's called a Waterfall of Light Particles.
Ooh, look, a shower.
The next room was very dark and filled with these foam-filled floors. Basically, the idea was, as you move through this space, you'd influence it for others, making it hard to walk. This next room is the highlight of this place, and it gets its own music. This is the Infinite Crystal Universe, which is a completely mirrored room with these string lights that go through these elaborate chase patterns and colors. The effect is mind-blowing.
This is so cool.
This is hands down one of the best exhibits I've ever walked through.
Magical. Absolutely
mesmerizing. And staff will rush you through this space, which is too bad because I could have stayed here forever. On to the next exhibit, and it's time for the knee-deep water one. How cool is this? This massive space is flooded with opaque water, while koi fish are projected all around. As they swim past you, their pathways become these streams of light. Moving on, if you've ever asked yourself what it would be like to walk through a room full of big, beautiful balls, satisfy that curiosity at Team Labs. It's giving Major Werner Patton vibes. The next room was a giant dome where we were encouraged to move to the middle and lie down as projections of flowers fell from the sky.
I am so dizzy right now.
Perhaps you prefer flowers that were tangible. Well, there's another room for that. Once again, you're encouraged to move into the space and lie down as these flowers are lowered onto you.
Team Lab Planets Tokyo. Pretty mind-blowing. That was an awesome experience.
That was the best virtual, experiential art movement. Okay, let me take two. That was hands down the best experiential art experience I've ever had.
That was super cool, but let's move on to something more traditional. This is Nakamise Dori, one of Japan's oldest shopping districts, which leads to Senso Ji, Tokyo's oldest Buddhist temple. Built in 645 AD, this site is dedicated to Kannon, the god of compassion. Compassionate as he may be, you're gonna have to get past these protector deities first. Visitors may do a prayer here if they wish, but you must purify yourself by washing your hands. Senso Ji was an amazing place to walk around and explore, especially at night. I love the lighting here. Also, I appreciated the contrast between these traditional buildings and the modern ones beyond. And it's here we actually met new friends from Estonia, who led us away from Senso Ji to a train station underground to karaoke at a place called Ninja Bar. And what better way to end this night than with this sweet serenade?
Here in Tokyo, no stop in Tokyo will be complete without crossing Shibuya Crossing. It's very touristy, but hey, we're tourists.
When in Tokyo.
Shibuya has the most heavily trafficked pedestrian crossing in the entire world. At peak, 3,000 people are crossing this intersection. And here's two more. While you're here, you may pass a statue of a dog named Hachiko. And Hachiko was a very good boy. He waited here daily at the station for his owner, even years after his owner's death. And for his loyalty, they made him a statue. Nearby, you'll find Shibuya Sky, where we're gonna head up and check out the observation deck on the roof.
We're here at Shibuya Sky to check out the view. Pretty impressive. This is a massive city sprawling in every direction. So up here, from this vantage point, you really get a sense of how dense this city is. And obviously, I lived in New York. That's not something that's new to me, but just the scale here.
Pretty mind-blowing. On the roof at Shibuya Sky is a helipad, which is now just a meeting point. Anyway, down this escalator and inside, you'll find some installations, like this one, which measures how many times you touch it. This piece is called Time River, where you're invited to touch the flow of time and be aware of yourself in this moment. I actually recommend spending most of your time in here. The views are just as good as they are on the roof, and there's snacks.
It's like Ramuni.
Shibuya Sky is one of Tokyo's newest observation decks, and one that I now can personally recommend. After Shibuya Sky, it got dark, and we found ourselves walking through this really cool neighborhood. It was full of cafes and barbershops. No time to stop, though, because Diana's on a mission to go to Kiddy Land. This place is basically plush toy heaven. This is definitely more her speed, but we made a deal. One store for her, and one store for me. This is the Fender flagship store, and it's the only one in the world, and I'm really excited to check it out. This store is gigantic. It spans across 4 floors and has a massive collection of guitars, including both Japanese and American models. And you can demo anything you like. And perhaps the coolest thing here is the Fender Custom Shop.
Now, I've seen the pictures of a lot of these guitars, but I've never seen any in person. It's super cool to actually see them in person.
The craftsmanship that's involved in these Fender Custom Shop pieces is amazing. It's just very cool to walk around here. It's kind of like a museum. The Tokyo flagship also has a performance space in the basement as well as a cafe. They have store-specific apparel here, so I had to get myself a t-shirt. Another great souvenir. Anyway, we'll head back to the hotel the same way we got here. And end another night.
I weighed myself this morning. I came in at 240 pounds, so that means we should probably do an activity that involves some walking.
This seems like a good place. This is the Imperial Palace, and the grounds are stunning. And here's the palace itself at a distance. This is the front gate and the changing of the guard. And unfortunately,
This is about as close as you can get to it, I guess. So, I mean, that was like a 3-minute walk. You have to get my exercise elsewhere today.
perhaps here. These are the success steps, and legend has it a samurai during the Edo period rode up and down them and attributed all his good fortune from doing so. Now, it's my turn. It didn't take long till I was utterly exhausted.
The samurai who did this had a horse.
Once you get to the top, you'll find the Atago Shrine, which was founded by the very first shogun of the Edo period. Today, it's popular amongst students facing entrance exams and businessmen seeking a promotion. I may be winded a bit, but I think it was totally worth coming up here.
Very beautiful.
This shrine was peaceful, and it was nice to hang out up here before having to head back down those stairs.
All right, up and back down, supposed to grant you success. Here's hoping.
It's time to visit another landmark. And no, this isn't the Eiffel Tower. It's red. Also, this is Japan. This is Tokyo Tower, and while it was modeled after the Eiffel Tower, it is actually quite a bit taller. Coming in at 1,100 feet, this was built as a symbol of rebirth in post-war Japan.
Inside the tower now, there's a lot of souvenir shops, even a drugstore. There's also this ninja experience where you can customize your own katana and throw some shurikens.
All right, great, I saw it. Let's move on to dinner, and it's a special one. Any guesses?
We're here in front of Gonpachi, which you may recognize from a little film called Kill Bill, where the Crazy 88 was slaughtered by Uma Thurman.
A small correction, that was actually shot on a soundstage. Gonpachi was the inspiration for that scene and one of Tarantino's favorite restaurants. Once inside, it is obvious that the scale is different, but the vibes are the same. There is a balcony above that looks over the restaurant below, which has a large open-air kitchen putting out amazing izakaya. And here are the choices we made in no particular order. I was concerned that this was going to be a gimmicky kind of place, but everything was fantastic. Also, I gotta say, part of why the vibes were so good in here was all they did was play classic rock. I'm not going to use any of that source audio, obviously, but we heard some Cream, Led Zeppelin, even some post-punk. Gonpachi had a lot of great music and really good bites. Anyway, here are our desserts, and here's the 5-finger death punch.
Where are we off to next?
Great question, and the answer is to Minato City and a bar called Bar Centifolia, which is pretty cool inside, but the highlight here is the bartender and his amazing drinks. Each one of these cocktails is absolutely gorgeous, and watching him make them is half the fun. Everything here comes out with a flourish, even the whiskey. And thus concludes another night in Tokyo. We're nearing the end of our trip, and I would be remiss if we didn't make this stop.
We just stepped up from Harajuku Station, and we're here in Harajuku. We're gonna check this place out. It's kind of home to a lot of interesting Japanese idiosyncratic fashion and crowds.
Definitely crowds for sure. This whole district is just lined with stores, many featuring unique Harajuku fashions.
Yeah, this is basically Melrose. Just Melrose in Tokyo.
There's actually a lot of great finds here. Definitely some cool things. And other things that are just completely nonsensical.
That doesn't make any sense.
There are snacks to be had here as well, and I had the best boba tea ever. It's dark now, and we're headed to an arcade. Now, I know what you're thinking, that's redundant, you already did that, but this time she's wearing a bucket hat, and I'm gonna go into more detail. Firstly, by saying how vertical these arcades are, just floors and floors of games. Actually, across the street you can see how vertical everything is. Each window here is a different dining venue. Crazy. Inside the arcade now, and there are just so many rhythm games I had no idea even existed. It's like each floor was organized by which appendage you had to use. Alright, time to leave the kids behind and head downstairs to a pachinko hall. Now basically, pachinko is Japan's version of a slot machine. Gambling is strictly forbidden in Japan, but this is the workaround. You can play these machines for prizes or vouchers for prizes, which you can redeem nearby at separate businesses for cash. Let's see if we can hit a jackpot here too.
Alright, I watched a YouTube video how to do these things, and I feel like I followed it pretty closely, but I don't know, I just took 1,000 yen and I'm stuck in some sort of menu loop. It's very frustrating. We found the hidden button, we pushed every button there was in this machine, and finally some silver balls came out, so I think we're ready to play.
Alright, you play this thing by rotating this controller, silver balls will fall through these pins, and you'll generate an error message every 5 seconds.
I don't think I won anything but a little bit of perspective, which is you should probably be able to speak the local language when you use their machine. The blinking was fun though.
Tonight we're eating at the hotel, and despite our lackluster room, the restaurants on offer are pretty good. This is Teppanyaki Akasaka.
We're doing hibachi, teppanyaki, here in Japan, straight to the source.
If you've ever been to a Benihana, you know what to expect. Except that I was completely blown away. Whether it was the quality ingredients or top-tier meat,
There's butter.
or the upscale presentation, Teppanyaki Akasaka was way better than any Benihana I've ever been to. And we were treated to this beautiful view. Cut to the next day.
And today we're here at the Tokyo National Museum.
That's right. There's artwork in there. We're gonna go check it out.
This might slow us down a little, but I'll shoot what I can. The Tokyo National Museum is Japan's oldest and largest, and features an extensive collection of national artifacts. I personally enjoyed seeing the huge collection of armor and weapons. This museum featured an extensive collection of kimonos, textiles, and Japanese windscreens called byobu, as well as many traditional Japanese paintings. Also, this guy's here. There is an additional wing that features collections from other Asian countries as well. Having just come from there, this definitely reminded us of our room in Thailand. Watch that video if you haven't yet. Anyway, outside the grounds are beautiful, and luckily I could shoot out there as much as I like. We really enjoyed sitting out here for a while. It was a great place to chill. Here's the museum's fountain lit up at night. And we've decided to go to a Delirium Bar, which there isn't much to say about other than this glass used to be full and it's not now because Diana doused me with it.
Are you still in love with these?
No,
You're not?
no.
We found this beautifully lit street, and I'm going to go ahead and use this as a transitional element to bring this day to a close.
Here we are today at Tokyo Skytree.
Tokyo Skytree is the tallest tower in all of Japan, over a whopping 2,000 feet.
This thing is massive up close.
There is an observation deck here, but that's not why we're here. If you want to see that, here's stock footage. Now, at the base of Skytree is the entrance to Sumida Aquarium. We've certainly had a lot of sushi, and I feel like we should look at some fish that are alive for a change. We saw some Japanese fighting fish. I went through like 5 of these when I was a kid. They all died. Anyway, they also had a very large penguin exhibit. Super cool to see. Also some seals. But by far, this was the highlight. This has got to be the coolest jellyfish exhibit I've ever seen. We probably spent a good half hour staring at these jellyfish like it was the 1970s and this was a lava lamp. And it's worth mentioning, I've been to many aquariums and this one is pretty quiet.
I mean, there's a couple kids, but they're pretty well behaved here.
This was a great facility, and if you're in Tokyo, Sumida Aquarium is a great way to spend an afternoon.
We're here in Shinjuku, feeling a little peckish. It's that time we're doing a 7-Eleven haul. How do 7-Elevens in Japan compare to those in Thailand, I wonder, or back home for that matter? Let's find out.
You know what? Let's not. At the time of shooting, I thought this would be interesting, but I'm realizing it just isn't. So let's just move on to our final day in Japan, which our hotel's buffet indicates is Halloween. We didn't do much during the day. Here's a shot of a cemetery to be on theme, and here's the Baccarat bar where we had a quick drink. We're saving our energy for tonight, which is Halloween in Tokyo. Absolute chaos. And you know what? That's going to be its own video, which you could watch right now. Definitely like and subscribe if you haven't yet. It helps out tremendously with the algorithm. What did you think of Tokyo? Let me know in the comments. Did we do enough? Was this video long enough? Stay tuned for more videos from Japan and around the world. And as always, thanks for watching.